Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another day at the B is for Build shop. In today's episode, we're working on the GTR and we're gonna remove all of the crash damaged sheet metal from the rear quarter panel. Stay tuned. Before we get started, I want to take a second out to thank our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Cove Speakers. You guys have seen this thing on the channel before. This is the Cove Commuter. It's an amazing little Bluetooth speaker. It connects to all devices with Bluetooth, your phones, your tablets, your computers, all that good stuff. It's got a subwoofer in the bottom, so it produces really good quality sound. It has the highs and the lows. That was the number one thing that I was really taken back by when I got this thing and started using it, is how good the sound quality is. It's amazing. It's really nice and little portable, good quality build, and it also happens to fit in a standard size cup holder. If you happen to have a car like my 240Z where we don't have a stereo, you can just throw this thing in your cup holder and get ready for the long drive. The battery life on this thing, it says it lasts 8 hours. I've actually been able to get it to last much longer than that, but at the bare minimum, you got 8 hours battery life with this bad boy too. So guys, it is basically the perfect Christmas gift, especially if you got an automotive person in your life that may not have a stereo system in their car. But I used it for camping, hiking, and working in any shop where we don't have a stereo system. It's been a really, really good thing to have around. Guys, head to the link in the description. It's covespeakers.com/BisForBuild and use the code BisForBuild and you'll get yourself 65% off. That's more than half off on your purchase. So great Christmas gift for anybody, guys. Check it out. Support companies that support B is for Build. Hit the link in the description. Thanks, Cove Speakers. Now let's get down to work. All right, getting started. The tools that I like to use for quarter panel removal are a center punch. So when you find the circular spot welds, you just center punch them real quick with this hammer, and then you drill them out with a spot weld drill bit. You can find these. It's kind of a funny design. You can find that down at Harbor Freight or a bunch of other stores. And I've also seen other people use really, really good quality drill bits. It's just that spot welds are a little bit stronger metal than normal metal. So if you're gonna use a drill bit, use a really good one. Flathead screwdriver just for prying around and different stuff like that in tough spaces. A chisel for popping out metal. And then to get the seam sealer off of the panels and stuff like that, a couple different types of wire wheels will help you get the seam sealer around the panel, as well as if anything gets too tricky, cutoff wheel. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the easy part. I would advise doing that anytime you know exactly what you're doing. So around this seam right here, starting down here, working my way up, and then along this pinch weld here, you're gonna pull this off and you're gonna see these circles just like that. Sorry, the camera doesn't want to focus. These circles, that's where I'll set the center punch in the center of that, hammer it down. That gives me my starting point for the drill bit, and then drill around that. That drills that out, and you work your way down on all the circles, and that should start to help you separate the panel, the outer panel, which is the garbage one, from the inner panel. Now that I'm through all the spot welds on this, whatever you want to call it, forward side, there's a couple of things holding it on still. So you got these two things here, which are like a door alignment pin. It's kind of crazy. I haven't seen that in other cars before. So we got to take these two nuts off of there, and then we're going to need to take the striker off of here. And as I go through a seam, I like to try and kind of tease it away from the body, like I've been doing here. Just kind of bending the metal back, making sure it's completely disconnected, because it can be kind of hard to target when you come back. So I'll keep bending all that stuff out and make sure that this kind of inside part of the panel is flexible. And then I think I'm going to start working my way down and around here, which is going to get quite tricky. We'll probably have to cut some metal because it looks like we have metal overlapping our pinch welds. We got one of the sides of the square done already. So moving on to the bottom side, with the crash damage, these things can get a little challenging. It's not as easy as drilling out the spot welds because it's covered up by this piece of metal. So what I've actually decided to do is I'm gonna drill out to here, and then you can see where my pink line is. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna cut through, and you gotta make sure to be careful, only cut through the outer side. Cut through the outer piece here. I'm gonna follow along down by that bend and then through there. And what that's gonna do is allow me to separate this piece and this piece from the frame, leaving this piece down here, and then later on I can come in with a hammer, fold that up, and then I'll be able to drill out the spot welds. That was pretty easy. So now when I grab this right here, you can see the whole piece is flexing. I can feel that it's still connected by something in here. So now the next move, we could do a couple different ways, but based on the amount of damage that's on the inside here and how much of this I want to replace, I'm going to lean more towards cutting on the inside of here and removing more of the bad metal with one cut, because the outer piece connects to the inner piece inside the wheel well. So I got that one piece I was talking about earlier. That's somewhere down here. Find that, cut that out. Then this is all separated all the way up through here, 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 and then it starts to connect right around here. So what I think I'm gonna do is lop this here and then follow this line up to here, and then the rest of this, sorry if anybody gets motion sick, is all disconnected already. So that should just leave us then that whole side off, and it'll be connected in the back, and we can start focusing on the back. Doesn't look like too much happened, but these are now separated, so you can see with just one finger how much I can pull that away. And then there are more spot welds up in here, and then obviously right here, so when I go to pull this, it doesn't flex that much. So now it's time to move over onto the back, same as what we did on the door sill. Spot welds around here, and there's a good deal of seam sealer inside the seams, so got to work that out with the wire wheel. And then comes the hard part, which is the inner seal over here. All right, now that I got that all free, it's time to move over here and start working on this inside railing. I do want to emphasize it is super important to use a wire wheel or whatever tool you want to get that seam sealer out of there, because it's a lot stronger than it looks. You think it would just like rip through it, but it'll hang on with even just the smallest amount, so try and get all of that out. On this inside rail, on all the cars I've ever done this on, there's normally a lot of seam sealer right through here and coming through here and up through here. So keep an eye out for that, and you can kind of see the flow of the metal, how it goes through there, dives down here, and it's going to follow all the way along here. So we're looking for spot welds like there, and across here, and they can be really hard to see, but sometimes a little bit of sanding or hitting it actually with the wire wheel will show the low spot, which is going to be the spot weld. So I'm going to wire wheel all through this, probably wire wheel on top of this to show my spot welds a little bit better, and then drill all those out, and then we could talk about the rear windshield frame weld, this is the tough one. I'm saving the hardest for last, which is what you shouldn't do. All right, we got that railing off of there. That's really nice. Now comes the hard part. This railing where the rear window glass goes is normally the hardest one. My advice is get a really sharp razor blade, cut through all this rubber here, then use the wire wheel to continue to get it all the way down until you can find all the spot welds, and then drill them out. And be patient. Now that I got the whole path all cleared out, I can kind of show you the situation that we're in, and it's not great. This car, the quarter panel goes on before this trunk deck and before the roof, so they overlap it. So you can see right here how we have this whole thing right here that overlaps our railing, and then coming up here is where it gets a lot worse. You have the roof panel right here overlaps our panel all the way down through and around through here. So if you were to do like 100% perfect, you know, spot on restoration, what the factory would do is they would pull the roof panel off and buy a new one, and then, or maybe try and salvage it, I'm not really sure, and then they would take the quarter panel off and they put the roof panel back on. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to trim on this line right here, coming down through here and then around here to free up the quarter panel, and then when we put our next one on, we're gonna have to do the same trim, and then I'll weld right into that seam. So I mean, as you can see here, all this is spot welds, right? What you're really trying to do is make sure that the panel stays in place, doesn't move around at all, and then you use seam sealer to weather seal it all up before paint. So you don't have to do heavy welding in here, and you just need it to match up and have the right body lines and everything look smooth. So it's not really gonna be that hard, and obviously it's all hidden by that what's that called? Like the gutter trim, basically. So that's it. We're gonna go ahead and spot weld or spot drill all through here, cut there, cut around here, and that should be this part done. All right, we got the top rail free, so you can see what I was talking about like kind of cutting through here, and then as I came up here, sorry, I gotta get up here. All right, you can see I cut, not touching any of the roof panel at all, just kind of cutting into this bad panel right here, and that gives us plenty of room to mount our new one in there as well. So the last piece that's really hanging this thing on here is the welds through here, and through here. So it's the same type of deal. Sharp razor blade, get that all off, wire brush, spot drill them out, and this thing should literally just fall off of here. All right, we're all drilled out. Now I just need to figure out kind of what's hanging on. There's always a little process of kind of finding the last little bits of metal that are hanging on. Cut those off and this thing should just pop right off of here. That's what a GTR looks like with no quarter panel on it. It's actually pretty damn cool. Someday I gotta just buy a car and take the quarter panels off. Looks pretty awesome. It's like a Transformers car or something, or a Terminator car. I don't know. Anyways, it looks really cool. So you can see we have like mild damage coming through here, and that's something that I'm going to have to clean up. I could do some pulls around here with the pulling tool. I still need to bend this up and drill these out, but what we need to make sure that we have is a good surface for our new quarter panel to mate to. So I'm not exactly sure how this is supposed to look, because you can see it kind of comes like this, and then there's this piece and it kind of comes out. I'm not sure if that's on purpose or if it's all supposed to be straight or what. I'm guessing it's supposed to come out a little bit, but our new quarter panel will kind of tell us the answer to that. Nothing too badly damaged in here. A little bit of creasing right there, it looks like, and a couple two small dents right there, but overall the door and the striker and everything should line up just fine. Coming through here, obviously all this metal needs to be removed through here, and then we're gonna have to rebuild all of that. But it's definitely not in too bad of shape. It's a lot better than the last one of these I did, so that's good. Now, if we're gonna get all the damaged metal off of this thing, I mean excluding the inner skins, we're gonna have to get the door off. So I'm gonna go ahead and uninstall the door right now. I believe it's just, we're gonna do a couple on the hinge side of the door side of the hinge up here, down here, and then this guy right in the middle. And hopefully it'll pop off and have a big plug for the wiring harness for the door as well. Somehow I don't feel like this made the car look less damaged. I don't know what that's about. But it's in here, guys. The dream car is in here. We just gotta build it out now. But it's looking good. Nothing is really worrying me at this point. The biggest piece of work that I think that we have to do as far as this repair is to repair this corner right here. That's not actually part of the new. You can kind of see it down there. It's that section right there. It's not part of the quarter panel. It's the part that the bumper hooks up to. That all has to be rebuilt. And without reference points, that's going to be kind of tricky. And we may have to wait till we get our new quarter panel on here to finish that up. But I think that's the last like big fabrication spot that we're going to need to work on, and everything else should just be, you know, simple replacement of OEM parts, and we'll be back in business. Alright guys, well that's how you remove a damaged quarter panel. Very soon I'll be showing you guys how to put a new one back on. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to all the new people that have subbed. If you like what we're doing here and you like this type of stuff, this is what we're going to keep doing. So hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys all so much for the support. Other ways you can support, head over to bsforbuild.com, check out our merch there. All the proceeds of merch go directly into these builds. I'm saving up for the next build. I got a really good idea that everybody thinks is absolutely crazy, so I think you guys are really going to like it. Alright, that's it. Please remember to check out our sponsor as well, covespeakers.com/bsforbuild. Okay, catch you guys on the next one.